Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel, Become the Disruptor. My name is Magda. I'm a trauma-informed qualified therapist, and today we're going to be talking about incentives. Two major incentives that you have to admit it to yourself that allow you to stay stuck and be like, I'm actually not stuck. I am actually progressing. But you know that you're stuck. There are, human beings are operating on incentives. So we are not going to be stuck if we are not benefiting from that. So if you had been stuck on your healing journey, especially if you are highly intelligent, analytical, and high functioning person, then that does not mean that you kind of want to suffer or anything like that. It just means that your current pattern is protecting you from something. It's protecting you from something that you don't want to explore, discover, experience, etc. But there are real incentives. So if you're stuck, then you must be benefiting from that to a degree. So let's go to the first major incentive. So because there are two. So the first major incentive is when you're stuck, you can simply avoid any internal exposure, any internal vulnerability. And this is especially relevant to people who are intellectualizing a lot, overthinking, overproducing, overworking, analyzing, researching, all that. Because you can talk endlessly about the trauma, about your emotions, but what you are avoiding, and this is the discomfort, is the feeling of these emotions in the body that would cause you to cry, that would cause you to shake, that would cause you to feel overwhelmed, etc., etc. So the benefit is basically avoidance of these feelings, you keeping them at bay, and you can be intelligent, you can call yourself self-aware, you can call yourself self-reflective, all that, great, and you're stuck. You're stuck. But again, the benefit is that you don't have to feel those emotions. And that's the reward. It's rewarding because it reduces the immediate discomfort that you would have to feel if you are going to feel those emotions in the body. So, and highly intelligent people are really skilled at creating an illusion of progress while actually remaining emotionally untouched. A lot of you guys are emotionally untouched. You're, a virgin, or very little there that you actually touched. But what you're good at is explaining. So explain everything about yourself and understanding yourself and all that. And I can see that when clients come into my session and start operating with this psychological language, and then I will ask them one or two questions, and I can see that those emotions are coming up like this, and they don't know what to do with it, they feel overwhelmed, and then be working with that, because that's when I start teaching them how to build the nervous system capacity. Because the right question to an intellectual will burn that intellectual fortress that you built for yourself, will get to the core and will make you feel something, because you will know that this question is threatening something, that you will have to feel something uncomfortable. And this is then what we're working with. So that's the first incentive. So the internal emotional vulnerability. The other incentive is the avoidance of external exposure, and that is the change of actual behavior. These two go together because a lot of the external exposure and internal exposure, so those two incentives, because a lot of the times when you actually start changing your behavior and start incorporating new actions, you're gonna notice new consequences in your life stemming from these new actions and new behaviors, and you're gonna start feeling fear, you're gonna start feeling joy sometimes, grief, etc., etc. So, and if you don't have the nervous system capacity for that, those emotions can feel overwhelming, and then you're just like, okay, I tried it, I'll just then go back. It's like, thank you, no. But a lot of you guys are really staying stuck because you are actually avoiding a proper risk of change. You are avoiding, and the thing is that these are really interesting things that I'm seeing that people are avoiding. They are avoiding basically being seen differently. They're avoiding like failing publicly. And publicly, I don't even mean like online. I mean like among their friends or their family. And they avoid disappointing other people or what they perceive as disappointment. They avoid making a mistake. They avoid losing a certain identity. So let's say identity of an empath. A lot of you guys are so like, I have to be the empath. It's almost like it's a certain righteousness about it. What is even an empath nowadays? It's an identity. But what does it mean? You have to think about what is the actual definition, and again, what is the incentive to stay in that identity and never actually move with life and with healing. Or on facing uncertainty. So, making mistake, losing identity, facing uncertainty. These will be those external exposure that you can avoid, which is the incentive, and you're staying stuck. So, and I want to correct one really very common misconception, because we are living in the era of marketing, psychological, therapeutic trends. Therefore, a lot of you guys think that healing is dramatic or intense. You've got, the shaky blanket thing when people under the blanket are shaking and everything. Yeah, of course, sometimes you will feel emotions that are overwhelming, uncomfortable, etc. But usually know where it happens when you are in your bed, when you are alone. It doesn't really happen a lot of the times, not on those, big retreats. And also a lot of the, let's say I'm not sure even what is the actual feedback from these retreats, because what are the actual results and whether they are sustainable, because the only results that actually matter is the one that you can sustain. So anyhow, beyond that, but healing actually starts really small and starts really quiet. It really starts with bringing it back to the body, sleeping longer, having less stress in your life, saying no to the things that you feel like you have to push yourself, pausing before you are automatically reach for ChatGPT or social media or whatever, changing what you eat for breakfast, changing what you eat, reducing overstimulation at night. As you can see, none of these are dramatic changes, but over time, they change your biology. They change how your brain works, and they change how your nervous system works. Because why? Because that's science. That is just all the things that I said. They are proven by science, by neuroscience, and they are not trivial things, not small things even, and they are pattern interruptions. So you're interrupting a pattern of eating unhealthy breakfast. You are interrupting a pattern of sleeping too little or too much stimulation at night. You're changing the pattern of automatically reaching for ChatGPT or social media. All these patterns, they will make changes to your brain, and they will make changes into your nervous system capacity, and they will create healing for you. So ask yourself 2 questions. It's almost like, what am I getting? What are the benefits of staying the same? And also, what is a tiny change that I can make today that would actually interrupt some of these patterns without overwhelming my nervous system? Really, really important. And this is, this is important, guys, as well, for you to be honest, but without the self-attack, without the self-blame. So these are the incentives. Now, the incentives are basically you avoid exposure, internal and external. And you can book a session with me if you want to break specific patterns, if you want some help with that, if you want to help with building the nervous system capacity, you know where to find me. You've got the link to my website. Everything is explained on my website. So it's so transparent that it is, very transparent process. And like, share, and subscribe, and I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye-bye.